and welcome back to the ACSC Podcast. This week again, you'll see we're joined by two others. Recurring guest Tom is back for probably, I don't know, I can't lost count how many times this kid's appeared on the freaking series. But he's back again. We're back with the usual co-host, Wazza. And we are on with Dylan Logan this week, who is a player for Baldock Town SC. We'll sort of just talk about his career, what he's in so far. But I'll let Wazza introduce himself and we'll take him from there.
Good evening, guys. How are we? As per usual, we do have a live giveaway going, ending the 4th of April. So if you want some cash of £100, get on it.
Of course. So, Dylan, thanks for coming on. It's good to meet you. And as guest, we ask your ultimate six-a-side team.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is a tough one. I haven't really thought about this. Is this including goalkeepers?
Yeah, so you have a goalkeeper, and one of the positions has to be you.
Okay. So in goal, I'm going to put Edwin van der Sar.
Nice.
Man U fan. Saw him play a few times. Great keeper. And then formation-wise, what am I going to go for? I'm going to go... I'll just name a couple of players. So obviously me up front, I'm going to play with Thierry Henry. So that's 3 players done already. So another 3. I'm going to play Kaká in behind me. Centre-backs. I need a centre-back, a decent centre-back, strong centre-back, ball-playing centre-back. I'm going to go Rio Ferdinand. Obviously Man U again. And who else have we got? I'm gonna go 2. I'll go 1 centre back and 2 centre mids. I'll go another centre mid. I'm gonna chuck Ronaldinho in there just for a bit of flair, actually. So that's Edwin van der Sar, Rio Ferdinand, Ronaldinho, Kaká, me, and Thierry Henry.
Off the side.
Yeah.
You're just going to outscore every team.
Yeah. Not sure about defensively, but we'll go with that.
Not a worry. So yeah, obviously it's good to have you on, and I think I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit and sort of, let's take it back to the start. So where did your journey to the world of football begin?
Yeah, so football's always been a big part of my life. So my nan and granddad, my granddad's from Jamaica, so we came over into the RAF when he was 18. And he had a friend that was from Manchester, took him to a Man U game. He become hooked with it. And then him and my nan have had a season ticket at Old Trafford ever since. So growing up, there was programs and pictures of Man U everywhere. And then just try to emulate my idols from there, really. So pretty young, 4 years old, 3 years old, playing football in the garden. And then started to get into coaching. So in my local area, somewhere in Letchworth, just a little local every Saturday coaching, something like that. And then the coach just said, "Oh, you're too good to be here. Gonna have to find a club." So I joined my local club, Letchworth Eagles. And that's where it really began from there. And then, yeah, so I was there for a bit. And then I got scouted by Ipswich when I was quite young, like under 6, under 7s. I was there for a couple of years. And then I got released because I couldn't use my left foot. Yeah, I was devastating at that age, and I just went back to playing for Letchworth. Yeah, should I keep going? Yeah,
it's interesting. So obviously at that age, you must have been talented at that age to sort of be 6 and 7. But I think it's an interesting one that a lot of people have said that even at that age, and you look at some of the players I can think of, likes of, I think Harry Kane's a notable one. Even at that age, clubs look for the special sort of notice of things like, oh, well, we can't use his left foot, even at that age, when it's coachable.
Yeah.
That they're looking at just getting rid of sort of talent already.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy, to be fair. Like, at such a young age as well. And then that's your first taste of rejection in football. I remember sawing my eyes home. I was just devastated, really. And then started playing for Letchworth, just there for a few years. Trying to think what happened from there. And then, I think under year 6 or something like that, I got scouted by MK Dons. I went there on trial. I think they offered me a contract at the time. So like year 6. And I just said no, because I just wanted to play with my friends, and we'll go into academy football, and why it's a bit stressful in a bit. But yeah, just didn't enjoy the pressure. I was playing well, but yeah, just confidence. I went from being the best player in the area, and then you go into an academy and everyone's good. Everyone's good.
Was there like more of an initial reason you looked at rejecting like a club like, obviously I imagine MK Dons are not a huge club, but academy football then?
To be honest with you, then I didn't have a clue who they were. I think they were League One at the time. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who they were. As bad as it sounds, I just played football. I just knew Premier League clubs really. Just didn't want to be there. Well, I didn't. It's not that I didn't want to be there. I enjoyed it. I think when you're at that age, you just want to enjoy your football. And I felt when I was there, you're just being watched and observed, and you're just a bit under pressure. So I wasn't playing the football that I'm used to playing. Yeah, that was the main one. Yeah, that was the main one really.
So obviously, because of that, you did end up obviously joining MK Dons eventually, getting into the academy setup side of things. So I sort of know it a little bit. I was there for a while myself, and then I've got friends who have played for MK Dons as well. So I sort of know what the setup's like there. And that's and how did you find it when you first transitioned into that side of academy football?
It was stressful, but this is quite a good story as well. So the person that released me from Ipswich was the same scout that got me into MK.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was very, very weird how life pans out. But at first, so I was just invited I was doing well playing county football at the time. So I was like Bedfordshire's top goal scorer, doing really well. So I had other clubs looking at me, like Aston Villa. There's a few others, but Aston Villa were probably the most highest one, you want to say. But yeah, I got invited to play. They just said, we've got a game on Saturday, come and play. MK did, and my brother was there at the time anyway. I scored two goals in this trial game, and then I got invited on trial. And then, but yeah, it's just a massive transition. I think when I joined, it was under 16, so the next year they're sieving players out to get scholarships or not get scholarships, and that's difficult. So it was difficult to join at that age, and especially not being academy trained or coached up until that age, because I was just a raw talent. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I found it tough. I won't lie to you. It was very difficult.
And I think you sort of mentioned the key thing there is obviously my understanding is that a lot of these players will enter a club at the ages of 6, 7, like yourself when you started obviously at Ipswich. They've been head into that sort of program all their life and they know it.
Yeah.
So obviously sort of what you're saying there is, did you enjoy your time and obviously at MK Dons, and obviously where you mentioned Aston Villa, was there ever probably like an offer on the table?
See Aston Villa, so I got scouted by them whilst I was playing at Bedfordshire, and it was things picked up when I scored a hat-trick against Suffolk, and then after the game they basically said I was going to go on trial, but then MK came in the next day and my brother was already there, so I just went there, and then things escalated from there. So nothing ever happened with Aston Villa. It was just talk. And when I look back now, it's crazy. Like if I went there, like what would have happened in it? But that's retrospect, man. I can't think like that.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just interesting to sort of see if there was a reason, if they say they did have an offer, why you would have chose, obviously, compared to Aston Villa and MK Dons.
No, it's just the fact my mum was driving up there every day of the week anyway for my brother. It just made sense for me to go, because my brother was playing 2 years up at the time anyway, so he was playing for my age. Right. So yeah, it just made sense. Just made sense to go there.
You mentioned that you obviously joined MK. Was it under 16s? Did you say?
Yeah.
When you say, obviously, I understand the difference, obviously, between sort of normal coaching and academy coaching. But where did you fear that you were going to sort of maybe not be at the same pace as the other group, fitness levels, or? No,
see, it's not even fit. Like at that age, I think everyone's fit. Like when you're 16-year-old, you can just run for days and days. I think it's more game awareness and game understanding that I probably lacked. So like when to press players, when to make certain runs. Yeah, I was just very nervous on the ball, and I remember the coach. I think he's a coach at Arsenal now at the time, and he's coached for England. And we were just sitting down in front of everyone, even like the scholars at the time. So Dele Alli was there, and he just said to me in front of everyone, he goes, "Oh, have you just had a growth spurt or something? Because your legs are a bit shaky." And I just remember that sticking with me, and I was like, oh, right. You don't want to, like, to put someone down in front of everyone. Do you know what I mean? It's not very nice. But yeah, it's just different level of coaching. People have better game understanding. I've just come from playing Saturday with my friends and county football, where I've just played in the 10 role and I could do what I want. And now it's a lot different. You have to do certain things. They like you to do certain movements. I kept getting past the player, and then they said, I want to see you go on the outside of him next time rather than going inside. And I was like, oh, okay, but I'm beating him every time. So yeah, it's very different, very different.
Is there a lot of one-to-one coaching at academy level, or is it mainly the whole group?
Just mainly as one group. There was certain players that would get put aside to do certain things with the coaches and stuff like that. But I was never one of them. And it's only until I'm this age now that I have like one-to-one coaching twice a week. So yeah, I'd definitely say to younger players, go and do that. Get involved. One-to-one coaching, it helps you massively if you're not having access to it already.
I feel like you said there, obviously being involved around that setup and sort of side of things it's one of them that mentality is a ruthless sort of way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I think so I can sort of relate to you, because I struggled a lot when I was growing up playing football. Is I knew I could sort of play well, but the game reading was an area I lacked. And obviously being a forward, it's one of them where getting your runs is certain ones want you to go, obviously, like I said, on the outside of players, they want you to go through the middle. It's picking up all that is the hardest part at that level. And like you're saying, when you play Sunday League, you can sort of do what you want and you can be the best player in the freaking world and you feel invincible. But when you get put in that setup around players who are equally as good or if not better than you, if you don't meet the standard quickly, it's very hard to sort of go down that path. And like you're saying, obviously, did that sort of thing come into it? Is that where you sort of lost a lot of confidence as a player, would you have said?
I think it probably was, to be honest. That was one of the biggest parts. And then whilst I was there, I got a lot of injuries, so I lost trust in my body as well. And then I'm doing movements that I'm not used to because you're trying to compensate for pain that you're feeling. You see what I mean? But yeah, I remember the coach at that time saying, "Oh, stop making runs just for the sake of making runs," and that kind of stuck with me for a bit. So I was just draining myself. Do you know what I mean? Showing for the ball all the time or running in behind when it probably wasn't on. But it's only I've got away with it up until now, where I have to really, because I want to push on, I want to play as high as I can. So it's something I'm still working on now with my one-to-one coach. So movement, and we do it every week because I have to get it stuck in my head. Yeah.
You mentioned the injuries there. What sort of injuries was you suffering? Was it sort of long-term injury, or was it just a lot of niggles?
So at first I tore my hip flex, and then I did rehab, came back, and then because my confidence was so low at the time, my Saturday manager, he just said, "Oh, we've got a game tomorrow. Do you want to play?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I'll play." Like, I just wanted to get my confidence back up. So I was playing well. I was just running the show, nutmegging, you name it. But it was 0-0. I was just playing for fun. I didn't really care. Like, I was just enjoying myself. And then I can't remember if I twisted, but I twisted and I felt a pop in my ankle. I'm like, for fuck's sake. I swear. Like, for God's sake. I was like, for God's sake. I came off. I just tried to ice it. And that was on Sunday or Saturday. And then we had training for MK on Monday, like game prep for a game on Tuesday against Brighton. So the prep is just walking about doing shapes, like formation play, stuff like that. Got through that okay. Obviously my ankle's very sore. And then on Tuesday, playing the game, just running with the ball, and then someone stamped on that ankle. And yeah, I was in a lot of pain. I was like holding my sleeve, like in pain, and the manager just pulled me off. He goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Oh, I've hurt my ankle." I didn't tell him where I hurt it. I just said, "I've just got a bad tackle just then." I got sent for a scan, and then it was like an avulsion fracture. So it's where your tendon rips and a piece of the bone rips off as well. So yeah, couldn't have surgery. Surgery wouldn't help. It's literally just in a cast, immobilized, and then rehab. Yeah. So that was the last injury I had. I did all the rehab there, And then they basically just said no. Like I wasn't on the schedule for physio the following week, and I think they just texted my mum. Yeah, that was it.
That's the ruthless side of it.
Yeah,
I feel like you're saying there. So obviously you couldn't say where, because obviously one of my mates obviously in the step as well is it's pretty much forbidden to play any football outside of Johnson. That is. Did you ever sort of think of that repercussion side of it, or was it just that determination of wanting to play football?
I just wanted to play football. I wanted to get that confidence back. I never even thought about that because I feel like because I wasn't there for a long period of time, I never really felt part of the squad, if that made sense. And then that Saturday team, that Sunday team, I was like the player. So yeah, it just made sense to me to play, get that confidence back up. But yeah, I never thought about that really, the repercussions.
So obviously after that, you said obviously you got released from that side of things. What was your sort of next venture? Did you go straight back into a club, or?
So yeah, my ankle still wasn't right. And then I got invited to train with Rushden and Diamonds. I think they were conference at the time. And that was ages away. I wasn't driving or anything. But yeah, I didn't really enjoy it. And then I ended up playing for a team in like my area, Stevenage, called Broadhall, and everyone knows them. So they had the best players in Hertfordshire, and most of them had just been released from academy clubs. So I loved it there. And then we became like Biggleswade Town. We were like their EGA team, playing there. And then the manager, Rob Bates, who was like a father figure to me, just let me play how I played. He was a striker as well. So did some real good coaching with me, shaped me into a good player. And then we all joined Stotfold. So the team changed from Biggleswade to Stotfold just so we could get first team football. So we're all like 17, 18 playing first team football, and we were loving it. I scored on my semi-professional debut against Wembley, and they've got a nice pitch. Just blasted it top corner. And then started playing under 18 football for Hertfordshire, and then training with them. And then that's when I had my major injury on my ankle, and I was out for 3 years. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 years. Wow.
So from the age 18, 19, 20.
Jesus. What did you do?
So I ruptured a tendon and ligament in my ankle.
Jesus. Just from I think I was trying to turn. Do you know, have you seen it was viral at the time. Do you know when Ravel Morrison gets the ball played into him from a cross? Yeah. He flicks it top corner. I tried to do that. But the ball, yeah. I think I said something different in Tom's thing. But that's what I did. Because I didn't want to sound like an idiot, to be honest with you. But yeah, so the ball so the balls
too, mate, it's fine.
So yeah, the balls come over to me, and it was such a short cross, like it wasn't high enough. And then as I've gone down to jump, the ball landed underneath my foot, on my left foot, and I've just put all my weight, and it's just gone loud pop, massive pop, and it just swelled up like a balloon. And I trained for the rest of the session as well. Yeah.
Jesus. So the 3 years that you missed out on what were you doing to fill the time?
What was I doing? I was very depressed. I won't lie to you. Yeah, so I lost my identity. So I was in sixth form at the time. Obviously, I didn't want to be there. I want to be a scholar playing football. I got kicked out of sixth form. So yeah, this is where the story gets crazy. I got kicked out of sixth form. I started working at McDonald's. Yeah, I was working at McDonald's. And then, so the first year I was waiting to have my surgery because I was arguing with the county because I said I was under their care. They should help me get the treatment so I can get back playing. And they basically refused. And then I eventually had my surgery. So I saw like a good ankle surgeon who deals with footballers, Dr. Dial. But whilst I was waiting, I was doing my BTEC and history and sociology at sixth form. Hated it, got kicked out because I wasn't going in. So I didn't want to be there. I was working at McDonald's. And then obviously you're trying to get back fit playing football. So I had my operations, had my first one, 6 months of rehab, and then it still didn't feel right. So they repaired the ligament, still didn't feel right. So I said, can you go back in and have a look? There's something not right with it. I've done all my rehab. My ankle doesn't feel like mine. That's how much I felt. And then when you're in that mindset, like, you know your own body better than anyone else. So I knew I needed another operation. So I had my other operation, and then they saw that the tendon was torn on the other side. So all the scans and diagnostics I had, it wouldn't show it. So they repaired that, and then that's another 6 months of rehab. But yeah, so whilst I was trying to get fit, I saw everyone. So I saw osteopaths, chiropractors, massage therapists, physios. I even contemplated something called rolfing, which is where they move the tissue. I was doing a lot of research at the time. Van Persie had an injury, and they used like human placenta, so like from baby births. So they used to massaged his ankle in that, and he said that helped him. So I looked into that. I was just desperate. Yeah, it's crazy. When I think
running after any pregnant women, were you?
No. Yeah, it's crazy though to think about it. Looking back now, yeah.
It sounds
to give you context, boys. For those, obviously, everyone in the area knows Dylan and his brother as football. That's like, obviously 2 top lads. But when someone says to you, "Do you know Dylan Logan?" in the Hertfordshire area, 9 times out of 10 they know he's the guy that plays football. So going through what he's gone through in that recovery has been pretty crazy, and you can just tell from the desire that you've got to play. Just go from going, from looking at absolutely everything, because I guarantee no one with an injury would look into that much detail.
No, it's crazy.
Like you're saying, at our level, like also as at our level, but like at the semi-pro, you wouldn't like that sort of way you're saying like that. Is very similar. I don't know if you saw the Santi Cazorla injury he had a few years ago.
Yeah.
Literally now got a bit of his, I think it's his arm, where he had a tattoo on the back of his ankle. I mean, the amount of injuries. And when you sort of got that desire to play football, you'll do anything to get back to it. And I think
it's desperation.
It is, and I think even like me, I'm not at the level I want to play anymore. And that's why I don't really play. Is obviously I had 2 massive knee injuries. I've done my knee twice. I've done my left knee once. So I'm just falling apart as a player. I can't really do anything.
It's tough, man.
And then sort of injuries. Did you ever sort of worry that you could never come back to the level you was at before?
Yeah, I did. Because obviously it's my identity. It's all I've wanted to do. Like there was days I used to just sit in my room and cry, to be honest with you. And I thought about ending my world, if you want to say, a few times. And I remember one day I was just standing on a bridge, like on the edge, like near where I lived, and then someone I knew drove past, and he was just like, "Oh, Dylan, man, what are you doing?" And he just, that was it. That was the last time I felt like that, really. But yeah, there was loads of times I felt low, because it's all I've ever wanted to do. I didn't really have a plan other than that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I think this is something that I think even at sort of the youth level, football doesn't get enough, I would say, support with, is the demands to play the academy level, like we discussed, is ridiculously high, and the amount of pressure they're putting on kids through, there needs to be enough support. And I think especially when I was sort of around stuff, I know I didn't really have anyone at that level where you can discuss this and talk to, and I think it is getting better. I mean, that is over time with the FA and now doing well, but at that level when you were playing, do you think that was something that could have helped with those sorts of stuff?
Massively. Yeah. If there was someone to speak to, and I think I did speak to someone at the PFA, to be fair. I forgot what his name is, but he was quite helpful at the time. And he was saying exactly what we're saying now. However many years ago it was, that players need more support when they're being released from the academy system. Yeah.
The thing is as well, it's one of those things the FA have got to implement on these kind of situations, because especially you look at like normal life as such, as someone being a mechanic or being a cleaner or that, they can go and get another job like that. But when you're getting released from a football club, it's like that special job that's hard to get back into. The support is, well, what I've heard of obviously ex-players and that, it seems to be absolutely rubbish, to be honest.
No, it's not the best. But I mean, so I was only there for a season, and obviously I was in and out of different clubs, trialing and things like that. But I mean, my brother was at MK at the club since he was 10, and then he was a first year pro and then got released. It's players like that have been with them their whole life. that really, like, I was there for a year and I felt like my world ended. Do you know what I mean? Like players that have been there the whole career, their whole lives, and then get it torn away. Yeah, that's tough to take. And you've seen a lot of it in the news recently, players being released and then them committing suicide because it's all they have. It's all they've known. I think there was a couple, a Man City player.
Yeah.
I forgot what his name is. Yeah.
Because there was a program, I'm pretty sure it was BBC, probably a few years ago, of players being released, and then they were going through the journey of how they're trying to get back into football clubs.
Yeah.
And I'm sure one of them found a club and then literally was released a year later again.
Yeah, it's a dog eat dog world in football. It is, but it's down to how much you love it. And setbacks, they're going to be inevitable because everyone has different opinions, and that's what football is. It's a game of opinions.
100%. I think I sort of on your live the other night with Tom, I sort of mentioned it there, is like I said, it's dog feed dog, and it's you got to take your chance when you sort of get it. And that level is a club will look for one position at one time. They're not looking to take one for each position. No. It's sort of down to your demands, and you could play an absolute blinder where you score 6. If they're not looking for a striker, your luck's out that side of things.
Yeah.
So just to sort of wrap up like the academy side of things, would you sort of advise being through it? Would you sort of recommend the academy system to young players coming up now?
I do to a certain extent, like, but I think now you can get that one-to-one coaching and those things that really develop yourself elsewhere. So it's not really a necessity. It's just, I think academy system, your foot's in the door, and then you have that on your CV forever, your football CV if you like. But I think the main one for me, when you get to 16 or 17, to be playing men's football at a decent level, really learning the game and playing the game in games that matter, I think that's a lot more beneficial. That's how I feel anyway. So I think it's good to a certain extent, but men's football, there's nothing better than it.
It's one of them, I think I was discussing it with Tom as well before, and I think there's a lot more, I'd say social media has played a massive role in this, and the fact that you can look at some of these, what you say is they're called these YouTube teams, etc. now, and that is, even if you can sort of even at that level, is you're getting your name out there to millions of people who are going to see this. And I think that is an avenue, and I was sort of saying to Tom as well, is around like the Nike Academy. I don't know if you remember seeing that years ago when that was around. I
applied to go on it.
So I saw around that base setup when there was base obviously at St George's Park for a while. I've done some stuff like launching the kit, and I saw them all there. And I think that's a very interesting aspect that could be done again to a different level.
Yeah.
Because to me,
I think they stopped doing it, didn't they? Yeah.
They stopped the Nike one, and I don't know why, because they were playing at a really good level as well, playing against the teams like Barca, Real Madrid. They were playing the top level. And I think like Tom brought up a good aspect earlier, saying like potentially having the academies going into League 1, League 2, etc., because then you're playing proper men's football.
Yeah,
it's the amount of people I know that have played in the academies and then tried to get a move once they've been released. Like one of my mates was at a Premier League team. He's been in a Premier League matchday squad, and he's, League 2 teams are looking at him and just he's not even getting a second, that call back. Like I've seen him play. I don't know where we travelled to. I think it's it was at Malden and Tiptree. I don't even know where it is. They're linked with
Essex.
They're linked with Colchester 23s. Had a really good game. Nothing. Just not even a call to say no. That was it. It's players like me have never experienced stuff like that. I'll just stick to managing, because if you can't play, you manage, as they say. So I can imagine it's not easy, being in that situation. But at the same time, it must be quite an experience to obviously have gone through that yourself.
Yeah. It's a journey, man. It's a journey.
But following that journey on, obviously after the academy, you're now I believe Bulldog Town now.
Yeah, at Bulldog. So Rob Bates is my manager, who was my manager when I was younger. But yeah, it's been a journey to get to this stage, to be honest. So I was out for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I kind of built a team around me to help me push on. and get me back playing to the level I know I can when I'm injury free and confidence high. So I have someone called Steve Linger, who's kind of he's a strength and conditioning coach by trade, but he's so much more than that. He's my mentor in life. Does my nutrition, my mindset, things like that. So he works with someone around here called Nick Freeman, who plays for Wickham, but he's on loan at Leyton Orient. So he took him from non-league to obviously a championship player, and he's done it with a lot of players. So if you look at his record of players he's worked with, he's made them into proper athletes, and he works with a lot of people that were semi-pros but now full-time footballers. So I see him every Monday at 5 a.m, which is crazy. Yeah, so I drive up to Sydney to see him. And then I have my one-to-one coaching with someone called Callum, who's at the Technique Coach on Instagram, and he's just brilliant at what he does. So he used to be head of recruitment at MK. I think it was head of recruitment, but yeah, he's just brilliant at what he does. And then I've got my massage therapist, Dev Basu. So whenever I need a top up, I see him. So yeah, I was out for 3 years. When I finally got the clear to play again, I got signed by a team in Newmarket called Mildenhall. They were playing in the Bostik League at the time, so it's a good league, good standards. So it's like the Ismail Premier or something at the time. Yeah, so Bostik League. So yeah, training really well. The first session, they said, "Yeah, we want to sign you." I was like, "Oh, great!" My confidence was back. I was nutmegging players, running at players, but I couldn't play a 5-yard pass. I think I told Tom that. Yeah, I was doing everything well other than the simple things. So I could do all the complex stuff, but not the simple stuff. I remember I was just playing well. They offered me, a contract, so I signed for him. And then the other players were saying, "How much are you on a week?" I've heard you're on £250 a game. I'm not on that. I didn't even speak about money to them. I just wanted to play football. So I was just getting petrol money when I was there. Yeah, just wanted to play. I was meant to be built up to play. So the first game, played against Haringey. That was the first time I was in the squad. I played like 5 minutes and we lost 5-1. But I was just happy to be playing, to be honest with you. I was buzzing. And then the next game, we had a game against Romford, and a player got injured in the warm-up. And then they said, "Oh, Dylan, you're starting." And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay." Started the game, was doing okay. 20 minutes in, chasing the ball down, and I felt a pop in my hamstring. Yeah, and then that was me done for the season. And that was that. I'm not sure what time of year that was. Maybe this time, but yeah, just popped my hamstring, so I was out for the rest of the year. And that was the second game in. Yeah.
Luck just wasn't on your side.
No. Nah.
So I think so. Obviously, the setup you sort of have now is what you can say is like a professional setup. You have all this around you. Like, is this sort of down to everything you've sort of gone through? Is you putting these sort of measures in place to give you the best platform to take your game to the next level now?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So when I'm older, I don't want to look back and say, "Oh, I could have gave it more." I just want to say I gave it all I could. Everything, every day. So I wake up at 5 during the week. I do my ball mastery. So certain techniques just to get the neurological patterns in my head. So I like neuroscience. It's just about making those pathways when I'm in tight situations in a football game that I have these patterns in my head, so I know what to do. Obviously my nutrition is a massive one. So my coach always tells me eat for function, not for taste. So that's a big one. So I'm drinking my turmeric shots and my sugar-free protein shakes. Like nobody's business, loving it. But yeah, it's exactly that. So I feel like a professional footballer, but obviously I'm working full-time and I'm playing semi-professional football.
It's an interesting take, because getting your head around it, like you are doing everything that a professional footballer in that sense would do. If you're getting that level of support, I've never sort of heard anyone at that level sort of go to that much dedication. I think that's fair dues to you, because
I appreciate it.
I wish even if I sort of had that mentality, you don't know what it could have been. But obviously taking that step now where you are taking this, obviously I know football at the moment has been a crap sort of 2 years. Obviously nothing seems to come on. Obviously, you probably got back into some sort of ability, and now you sort of had 2 years cut out of it.
Yeah.
What would you sort of want to say is, if you look in 5 years' time, where would you want to be as a player?
I want to be playing league football ultimately, but that's the main aim. But if I'm playing conference prem or something like that, and an established player, not just someone that's sitting on the bench, and an established player doing well, that has a good story, that motivates people to just chase their dreams and not give up. That's where I'd be. But ideally, I want to be a league footballer. But I know when you're playing semi-professional football for Bulldog and you're saying that, some people may think that's a bit far-fetched, but I know my ability. I know people believe in me. It's just about getting that consistency and staying injury-free.
Thing is, I don't think it's a unrealistic expectation now. I think you look at, I think the prime example everyone will go to is Jamie Vardy, obviously.
Yeah.
Nothing to arguably be one of England's great sort of players now. Is you look at his record in the Premier League, it's untouchable.
Yeah.
He could still easily do a job now. I know he's retired from England national, but I would have him playing for England every day of the week still now.
100%.
And I can't remember his name. Who went to Arsenal not too long ago. He come from.
What's his name?
Cohen Bramall.
Yeah, Bramall. Yeah.
He sort of come from that level. It's not an unrealistic aim. I think the game is changing, and it always is. And I think clubs are getting more, they're not like reliant on the academy level anymore. They look at an actual player's ability and see how it can be developed more given the facilities. And I think any sort of club looking at yourself is they can see that dedication. That's something that's got to go on merit.
I think, well, Dale was mentioned the other day in the live that he's had chats with his manager and stuff, and he just needs a consistent season. Obviously, if you have a consistent season, good minutes, because I think you get good minutes at the minute anyway. Obviously, building yourself back into the team, that would do the world of good.
Yeah,
because you're into that sort of groove. Because obviously, you know, you've been playing and then had an injury, and then it's been like a bit stop-starty for you. So you obviously aims for this season. You know what we saying when it resumes.
When it comes back, I want to get at least 30 goals, and I want clubs to start really noticing me, just to have that consistency week in, week out. That's the main one, really. But yeah, like you were saying, that you have to have like hard and difficult conversations with your coaches and people around you if you want to improve and you want to do well. And that's something I've been doing. So obviously people have been saying, you have to improve your game understanding, when to do things in the right areas, because I've been doing nutmegs in my own half for about 10 years now, and I still haven't grown out of it. So it's things like that I have to stop doing if I want to push on and do well.
It's a hard one when you say that, because I think I was sort of thinking, I don't know, you probably know the F2 on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know, a very similar sort of thing is that the game awareness. I think Jez has been very openly saying that he was a very good player, probably one of the most skillful players I've ever seen, but he just didn't have that game awareness.
Yeah.
He actually said he was the most technically gifted player at Arsenal, including the first team.
I didn't want to say it. I know I'm true, because you're talking at a time when you had the likes of Thierry Henry here.
Bergkamp, Vieira.
Oh, well, that's what he said.
Yeah, he genuinely.
No, in an interview, he said on the ball, he was the best player at the club, including the first team. Off the ball, he was shocking.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't want to say that because I knew how untrue that probably is. I like to them there. But it's what it is. I don't know, because obviously what you're saying, I can see it, and just obviously it's the first time I've really got to speak to you, is you have that determination and drive that you see in the likes of players who sort of, you look at the big names who do it, as obviously Ronaldo, who's dedicated his life to football.
Yeah.
He eats, lives and breathes football, and he's got to the very top. And you sort of look at some players, I think you mentioned in earlier, was Ravel Morrison, was the one that I think Fergie's been so open and said that he was probably one of the best players he's ever seen, but didn't have that sort of drive and determination to see it through.
Yeah.
Mine's just from the two that you've mentioned there. I think the whole mindset of the both of them was different. You know, I think, you know, obviously I can't speak for Ravel Morrison if I know him, but I know that he had a lot of external issues within football. And I think the difference between the two, obviously other than ability, is the fact that Ronaldo made more sacrifices to his own lifestyle, his own mindset, whereas I would arguably say that Ravel Morrison didn't do it to that level, hence maybe not fulfilling his potential. I don't know.
Have you seen clips of him play? Did you see Zaha's statement on him the other day?
He's a joke. He's an absolute joke. I don't
But
know
it was it was coming from Zaha. Zaha was like, he was trying to play like Ronaldo. I love Zaha as well. He's like Ravel Morrison was trying to play like Ronaldinho against Lithuania or something like that, and it was embarrassing. And I watched the clips of him, and Ravel Morrison was on fire. He was playing sensational.
Some of his clips, even like later years, so some of the clips have been training. He is unreal. I just, like you sort of said, there's a lot of external things does come into it as well, but you sort of just, I don't know if it's that side of things is to live that potential. And I think it also comes down to pressure. I think we've got the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson coming out saying you're one of the best players he's ever seen at that age. And I think you can sort of link it into Phil Foden's got that sort of pressure on him. Obviously,
yeah. He's coping well with it though, Phil Foden.
He's a player and a half.
Yeah.
He's a player and a half.
So I think what we do also like to do in the episode, we sort of link it in a bit. And I think I've heard you mention you're a United fan.
Yeah, I am. There we go.
Thoughts on this season?
What's that?
Thoughts on this season for United?
Started a bit, yeah. But I've always loved Oli. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes came in, not this year, last year, and he's been a real catalyst. Like there's no player like him. I think every fan can admire him. But yeah, we had a patch where we're doing so well, and then just in United fashion, when things were going so well, we've just slipped up a bit. But just about it's what I come back onto, consistency. I love Greenwood as well, and he hasn't really been starting a lot of games. Cavani, I can't believe that we have him. He's a fantastic striker. But I think the season's going okay. It's going okay. It's just my Man United. I feel like we should be top and winning everything, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, you name it. But it's a different Manchester United now. It's a very different Manchester United.
I was going to say, obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan. And it's going to happen maybe in the next few years of Steven Gerrard going to Liverpool. As a Man United fan, do you think, obviously, like you said, you love Ollie being there, but is he the right manager to take you to the top of winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues?
That's a hard question to say. I think when a player like a club legend is in charge of your club, people love him already, but he's not an established Champions League or Premier League winner as a manager. So I would, at the time, I wanted Pochettino. I really did.
I'm quite surprised that never happened.
I'm very surprised as well. I'm very surprised. Now he's at PSG. It's interesting, isn't it? Right. Obviously, if Steven Gerrard comes to Liverpool, would you be happy? Would you?
That we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and like I said, I would love him there, but not now. I know he's doing brilliant. He's obviously won the league with Rangers, but we've always said of ex-players coming back to their boyhood club, and then if they exactly what happened to Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
I don't want him to do that, and then I'm kind of glad how the way that Gerrard went of going to a smaller league as such, trying to prove himself, and then work up from there. But I think even now, Gerrard would have that sense. If Klopp was to go next week or that, and they've offered Gerrard, I don't think he would take it.
No.
He said it himself. He had an interview the other day as well.
Yeah.
He said, let me make this clear. I love Jurgen Klopp. Everyone at Liverpool loves Jurgen Klopp. No one wants me there yet. I'm not going to ever say no to it in the future. But I think even Steven Gerrard's got his head cleared on about that one.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think it's
even
you guys have got Arteta. Yeah.
Oh, broke after the weekend. I think everyone sort of saying it's stick of dropping Aubameyang, but I don't know.
What did he do? Do you know what he did?
He was late. He's been late to games and late to training.
Yeah, and I think I was speaking to my mate at work about this, and I was sort of saying I have full respect for him for doing it, because he's put himself in that position as the manager, say, I'm the man here. I think for too long we've had people who sort of let players rule our club. If you look at the likes of before with the Sanchez situation, Ozil, the players have always had the power, and it's about time we started as team sort of take that back and say, yeah, you may be the captain, but you're not above me. It could have gone disastrously wrong. I admitted if we lost that game, it would have been a different story in the press.
I've got a question for you, Arsenal fans. Would you have rather had Zaha than Pepe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only because I've not watched Pepe before we signed him.
Okay.
So I've had more exposure to Zaha, and I don't like fans that, you know, gas a player up that they've not necessarily seen, and they're just going off hype. If it was down to me, you know,
Do you
it'd
know
have
what I
been a
feel
different
like?
answer had I watched Pepe play for Lille.
Yeah.
Because
Do you know what I feel like Arsenal do though? They love to just find random players.
yeah,
They,
I mean,
they just like being
it's worked in
different.
terms of like Koscielny, they signed from a League Two team in France, and he turned out to be a good signing. You know, obviously signed Henry for 10 million, and he was, you know, one of the best players to ever wear the shirt. But also, it's not gone well. So
Pepe's
I think, you know, for us, we're going for it's a transitional period, and I don't want to use that as an excuse to the performances that we're giving out. But there's gonna be a whole different look the next 3 years. There's players in that team that just are really not good that we need to get rid of.
I still think Pepe has a chance of us. Sort of where you say it has it, I did see some of his footage before. And I think I've said it before to Warren as well, is I think the big part of Pepe is his confidence. He's a player that he likes to run at people. And I think for the first year, last year, we saw he didn't have that confidence. He would go up to a player where you'd normally see him throwing about 20 step overs, which he's now doing. He would go past the player and cut in. But the first year, you would see him get close to a player and he would look straight back to play it back. He's one of them players, I think, over time, I think he'll become good, but he's not worth the 72 million we paid for him.
I watched him at Lille when he was there, and he had that breakout season, and he was decent, to be honest. He had that kind of free reign of going anywhere he wanted. Obviously, he never brought it to Arsenal, and all I can say is thank God, because Liverpool and then Arsenal come in with that late bid.
Well, I think Napoli was the close. I think Napoli even had a bid accepted for like 66 million, and we outbid him. And it was sort of, Zaha's an interesting one. I think Zaha is still linked with us, and I think he probably will end up at us at one point.
He's got massive attitude problems though.
And but the thing is, everyone said this as well with Aubameyang, is that he's got all these attitude problems. I think we might start to eventually see it now with this whole lateness coming in, but I can't see an issue of us signing Aubameyang when we didn't. He's become one of our biggest ever players. So a player will have issues at a club if they're not happy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If they're happy at a club and I think Zaha's been very open that he wants to join us. I think he's even been his site, he's freaking put on his Twitter and stuff. It's an interesting one. One thing I did want to ask you, I think you mentioned it on the live the other day, is that you don't just watch football, you study it, which is the thing I saw is. So when you were sort of growing up and you still do, who's the type of player you idolise and sort of study the most at the moment?
Probably Ronaldo. Yeah, but to be honest with you, when I was younger, I just used to watch the tricks and the skills, Yoja Benito on YouTube and things like that. But I think it's only in the last, like, since I've had that serious injury, I've properly started to study the game. So Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, Thierry Henry, his movement when he's receiving the ball, the way he peels off and shapes his body to curl it bottom corner, you know where he's going to go, and he still goes there every time, consistency. So it's those players really. Because different managers, I've been at different clubs and they've put me in different positions. So I was at St. Neots for a bit, so Southern Prem, and they played me centre mid, and anyone that knows me knows I'm not a centre mid at all. So yeah, I didn't get on there. Tom shaking his head.
It's just the one. Well, I'm sure you could do a job there, mate, but that's not where I'd associate you.
No,
you never see a centre mid throw that many step overs around.
But yeah, it's just players like that now, really. So Brazilian Ronaldo, Thierry Henry. What's happening here? Sorry about that. I'm back.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was an interesting when you said that, because it is, I think, I'll say for a lot of vices of younger players coming, I would say to do that sort of thing as well, is don't watch a game, study certain players. And I think I remember going to, I think it was last year, the England under 21 game, when I was at the Dons versus, I can't remember who they were playing. And I think that game, I literally spent the whole game just watching Phil Foden and the way he plays.
Yeah.
And even at that level then, you could see the class above he was compared to anyone else on that pitch.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just them little things I think you sort of appreciate it more as you get older.
Yeah.
Players like that. And it's an interesting one that you sort of said that. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's only really come about from people saying I have to get my game understanding a bit better and things like that. But it'll be pointless me watching a player who's not similar to me. So like watching a Peter Crouch or something. So when I try and watch a player, I want him to. I even Google their height sometimes because I'm going to be watching people in the same height as me, the same weight as me, body shape, similar speed, and things like that. It's pointless if I watch, say, I don't know. Yeah, like obviously a Peter Crouch or a smaller striker because I'm not small. I'm a quick play in my feet sort of player, getting behind sometimes, yeah, but I'm not an aerial threat or things like that. So I started watching Dominic Calvert-Lewin a bit, but he's a totally different player to who I am. So I've kind of drifted away from that because I'm not great in the air, but I'm trying to be. But he's good at the air and he's good. He's a box player. He's a good box player. I'm not really a good box player, if that makes sense. So yeah, watch players that are similar to who you are. Don't watch people that aren't similar to who you are, and that will help you a lot, I think.
That's good. I like that. That's good. Just trying to think of a few more things to link into current football and situations we've got going on to see your thoughts.
No, you were saying about YouTube, obviously being a spotlight for players coming through.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Odegaard was a YouTube sensation, and that's why Real Madrid went in for him.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously he was, I think, 15 at the time, I think, when Real Madrid signed him. And what a player he is, though. He's actually
he's a great player.
I think if we manage to keep hold of him in the summer, which I think there's a lot of talks, we are opening discussions with them to sign him permanently, I think he'll be a massive part of what we're saying is a transitional period for us.
Does he tend to do a lot more, still literally keep leading out the skills or not? I haven't watched him, to be honest.
It's an interesting one. My opinion on Odegaard is he's very similar, I'd say, even though we just got rid of him, but he's a very sort of Ozil type playmaker. He's not the one that's going to be, trying to think, he's not like a Harvey Barnes or where you got him going up and down. Odegaard likes the ball at his feet. He likes to be a dictator. But I think he's got a bit more to our club, and I think going forward he'll become more as the talisman. I think very similar to what Bruno, I think, affect Saudi United. I think he can have that same effect on us.
It's a big statement.
But it's interesting to see. I say I like it, but what do you think about it then, as an Arsenal fan?
Not really the opportunity to shine at the minute. Started slow, building his way into the team. There's potential there, but you never really know players because some players just go boom through the roof and some players just stay at a sort of steady pace. So it's hard to. It's like Saka last season. Saka last season was probably, you'd say, average in our team, and now he's, a match winner, one of our best players. So it depends. Again, coming back to the mindset and the whole sort of perspective of what someone has on football.
Oh, I completely agree. But I think you can even notice, I think, like you said, Odegaard did have a slow start, but he's one of the stronger players. I think it's even, you can link it in with Bale. Odegaard hasn't even had a look in at Madrid every time he's gone back. Obviously, he got called back early from his loan at Real Sociedad, which was a 2-year, with obviously the promises of being a first-team player. Then he spent another 6 months sitting on the bench. It's going to have that impact on a player that he's not getting the game time. So now, obviously, where he's under Arteta, seeing him as a key man. And I think the last 2-3 games we've started to see the real him. But yeah, I think Bale's an interesting one. You could say he's obviously did nothing for so long, and now he seems to be back to freaking pre-Madrid form. He's just tearing the league apart now.
Right. Dylan, for that one, for like any kind of team for the style of play, what team would you pick to be in?
To play for?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Play such as, obviously, look at the Liverpool's, obviously, the quick counter, or like a Burnley, like a slow playing.
You know, I watch a lot of Dutch football, like Ajax online.
Yeah.
I love their philosophy and the way they play. Obviously, Johan Cruyff. I read a good book of I think Beautiful Orange or something. It's just on the philosophy of Dutch football. So I'd love to play for Ajax or somewhere like that. But in terms of now, like Premier League clubs, I reckon we'll go for a Southampton or a Leicester Leicester actually. Leicester.
Like quick counter.
Quick counter, yeah.
Leicester's interesting. I like Leicester. I think they're going to be, I'll say, a top 6, top 7 side for the next 3 years. They got so much, and they've done the investment well. Obviously, brought the whole new training ground with Harry Maguire's money.
Ben Chilwell as well. He sort of grew up near me and Dylan, and we have mutual friends, and people used to say that he was better at cricket than football, and then he completely gave the cricket up. I think at about 15, 16, and then apparently he was playing semi-pro already, but then he just kicks on. And obviously now he's...
Well, I believe, didn't he?
What's that, sorry?
I think he was at Dons as well. I think that's where he sort of come through.
It was the team before Leicester, who I don't know where they got him from. It may have been a championship team, I'm not sure. I want to say Ipswich, maybe. Might have to check that one. But yeah, it just shows, you know, I can safely say, I don't know anyone that's doing what Dylan's doing. It's very unique, and it's definitely, as I say, something unique that, you know, no one else is doing. And I mentioned it in my live with Dylan as well. It was a Joey Barton interview where he was saying, you know, who's going to come take my shirt? You're not training longer than me. You're not training harder than me. You're not doing anything outside of it. So why should I give you my shirt? Because I'm not going to give you it. You've got to earn it. And I think if you're getting steps ahead now, and as you say, doing things that no one else is, then you definitely got a good chance. 100%.
100%. Do you know what's funny? After that podcast, I was on Sunday. I was in Sainsbury's, and this guy was staring at me. I was like, what's this guy looking at? And he just looks at me. He goes, "You're a footballer, aren't you?" I was like, at first I just said, "Oh, I might be." And then he goes, "I can tell the way you're walking." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "I'll tell you why I ask. I'm an agent." So I was like, "What?" And this is like mindset stuff. So what you put out into the universe, you attract. So that happened, and then I showed him some. Oh, my music started playing there. Yeah, so that happened. Just showed him some of my clips, and I've sent him some of my clips, and he's going to work with me. We'll just see what the options are. But it's weird how you put stuff out in the universe and it comes back to you. I was going to tell you that, Tom. Yeah,
well, I'm glad you did, mate. Find us, fee.
But yeah, but to me, I don't feel like I'm the only one doing this. Like, but I don't know whether that's because the people I'm seeing, obviously they see a lot of clients and they're all doing it. So I know a lot of people that are doing what I'm doing. But maybe my mindset's just a little bit different to what people are used to.
I think there's a difference between, you know, with anything, there's a difference to I might and I will. And I think, you know, what you do and how you do it represents your thinking. So you can take this in any sort of aspect of life. You can say, I might be the best at my job, or I'm going to be the best at my job. There's two very different things. And as you know, like, you know, I'm sure we all know people that, you know, who've been there, not made it, but we also all know someone that has made it, and why they've made it, because they've always had the belief that they're going to make it at the end of the day. Because if you're not 100% committed, if you're 99.9% committed, you're not going to get there. And I think that's the difference between who makes it and who doesn't. Because the amount of times you hear someone and you speak to them about football and you'll say, you know, oh, I might get a move, as compared to, no, I'm going to get a move. I'm going to have the best season of my life, and I'm going to get a move. And you know, you can tell the difference already.
Yeah.
So it's you know, football's a game that's evolved massively into the whole mental side of it, your whole perspective of it, how you think of it. You know, I know I only manage at, you know, at an amateur level, but you know, I've got into a game before thinking, oh, I might win the game, and we've lost, to a game that we were the underdogs for, and I've just said to all my lads, you know, we are going to win this game, and we went and won it, not because of that, but because of the whole mental aspect of the game. So I'll back Dylan. Dylan knows that I'll back it all the way. But it'll be exciting to see if he does. You boys should get down and come watch him for a game.
Oh, I'll definitely be there. Like I said, it's the first time I've actually got to speak to you, but like you're saying, you can tell there's that determination and drive there. And I think I've never heard of someone doing the sort of thing like what you were saying earlier is about you do the ball mastery stuff to literally pattern in your head. That is thinking literally as a pro, which you're planning everything out and then key details.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think you're being surrounded by those people who do it day in, day out, and the others, that's only a good thing for you because you're 4 or 5 steps ahead of anyone else. So obviously I think it's been a pleasure to have you on, and I think in 5 years' time we'll be watching you play in the Premier League, hopefully.
I hope so.
but it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys. I appreciate it.
So, Warren, if there's anything else you want to sort of finish up on, now's your chance.
No, nothing from me.
Like we said at the start, there is a live giveaway if you want to go win yourself £100. It's live on our page. It's also on Tom's coaching channel. And if you haven't already, go check his coaching channel out. He's a very good coach. I can recommend him. He's a decent baller as well, even though he doesn't like to think he is.
A very good player.
Very good.
Shut up, Dylan.
But thank you all, guys. And
Too nice.
Thank you.
See you later.